Don't blame it on the moonlight. Don't blame it on good times. Blame it on the boogie. I just can't control my feet. 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 Sunshine, I don't blame it on the moonlight. I don't blame it on the good times. I blame it on the boogie. I don't blame it on the sunshine. I don't blame it on the moonlight. I don't on the good times. I blame it on the boogie. You just got the sunshine, yeah. Moonlight, good times, good times. Don't you blame it.
1, 2.
You just got the moonlight. You just want a good time, yeah. Oh, blame it on yourself. Sunshine, ain't nobody's fault but yours and that boogie. Oh, not long. Yours and that boogie. Ain't nobody's fault but yours and that boogie. Dancing all night long. Blame it on yourself. Ain't nobody's fault but yours and that boogie.
Watch him work it for your good.
1, 2.
'Cause he's not done with what he started. He's not done until it's good. So let him turn it in your favor. Watch him work it for your good. He's not done with what he started. He's not done till it's good. Hello peace, hello joy, hello love, hello strength, hello hope, it's a new horizon. Hello peace, hello joy, hello love, hello strength, hello hope, it's a new horizon. The biggest fear is that the resurrection was not complete. The biggest lie is that this life is all that there is. And so we live in a fear of not knowing that God's work is complete in us. And the problem with not having confidence in the resurrection is that we don't know in the end if we will live again. But I want you to know that the pain you face is temporary. The cancer you face is temporary. The disease you face is just temporary. Because every believer that's washed in the blood of the Lamb will live to live again. How many of you know that this is not the end for the child of God? This is only just the appetizer for the main meal. But when we see him, we shall be like him. When he recognizes every knee, every tongue will see the Lamb of God. And there will be just like his blood. Somebody say hallelujah. Here is not my future. You are. Who is it? You are. This is not my future. My story. You are. It's not my life. I'm bringing down my home.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Senator Club. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Senator Chris Head. I represent the 3rd District. We are so excited to have our statewide ticket here today and to be able to get Republicans elected all the way across the Commonwealth in every House seat in the House of Delegates and in all of our statewide elections. But I have been asked to open us up here in the most important way possible. How many of you are praying people? Excellent. How many of you believe in the power of prayer? Okay, I just wanted to share real quick. If you don't know the story, in 2 Kings, in the 6th and 7th chapter, Samaria was under an incredible famine. The enemy king was holding them down. There was starvation to a level that they were eating their own children. And they didn't know what to do. And the king said, he looked down and he said, "This disaster is from the Lord. Why should I wait for the Lord any longer?" And then Elisha said to him, "Hear the word of the Lord. This is what the Lord says. About this time tomorrow, a seah of flour will sell for a shekel and 2 seahs of barley for a shekel at the gate of Samaria." And the officer on those whose arm the king was leaning said to the man of God, "Look, even if the Lord should open the floodgates of heaven, could this happen?" And Elisha said, "You will see it with your own eyes." And it is exactly what happened. The power of prayer is incredibly important. That's been leading, if any of you have been following along, the initiative of 40 days of prayer that ended today, 40 days before the election. God is sovereign and is in control, and that's why they asked me, and I'm very honored to be asked to open us today in a word of prayer. So, if you would all, and if you'd like to stand and join with me as we go to the Lord in prayer. Father God, you are sovereign. You are in control. You listen to the prayers that have been being lifted up. You know how badly we need leaders who will honor you in everything that they do, who will fear you, and who will follow you in the governance of this Commonwealth. And we just ask that you would pour your Spirit out on this whole entirety of the Commonwealth and bring voters out who know that as well and the importance of that. And that you would in this place now pour your Spirit on this place and pour your protection, your covering over these candidates that are going to speak to us in a bit. And Lord, help us to honor you in all that we do and that we say. It's in Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Amen. Thank you. You're probably going to want to remain standing because it's now my honor to introduce my good friend, Delegate Joe McNamara, who's going to lead us in the pledge.
Thank you very much. If we could remove our hats. Join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. If I may introduce Senator Suderline.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Star City of the South. It's great to have you all here in Roanoke today. We're so excited to have our ticket. It was just a year ago this week that Roanoke got its first Republican on city council in a generation, and unfortunately he can't be here right now because he's serving on city council. So we're very excited. You never know what will happen in any election, and that's why we work so hard to the very end. I appreciate all you being here. I hope after you leave here today, you make sure that you post about it and remind your friends where they can go find their voting location. It's so critical. You never know how close things will come. It was just a few years ago that the House of Delegates was determined by one seat, and that one seat was a tied election, and it turned out drawing lots, and that's what happened. You never know what will happen, and I appreciate all of you being here so much because you're going to make sure that we do everything we can to get our candidates through. We've had a great Republican nominee for Lieutenant Governor, John Reid. He's been working so hard. I've been so thrilled. He's running against a Democrat in the state Senate who serves on the Senate Education and Health with me, and I have a unfortunate front row seat in seeing the most liberal member of the General Assembly with terrible ideas. And she knows that they're not popular ideas. That's why she won't debate them. That's why she went this entire race refusing to debate John Reid. John, though, has been all over the Commonwealth, from the eastern end to the western end, northern end to south side. We've been so proud to have John Reid as our candidate, and Winsome Earle-Sears has done a great job being president of the Senate. We look forward to John Reid being the president of the Senate. I hope you'll all give us a strong welcome to John Reid, our Republican nominee for Lieutenant Governor.
How's everybody feeling? I haven't slept in 3 days. I can't sleep. I'm laying in bed at night like I got to do something. You know, it's been January 27th was the day that I started this campaign for Lieutenant Governor. And have you been following it? It's kind of been a roller coaster ride. Some great days and some not so great days. But here we are, less than 24 hours away from bringing home a win across the state. So can I tell you, we've done some really amazing events. We had some great events yesterday, and I think about the last few weeks, we've had a really fancy black tie event with snobby people. But they have money, so we got to be nice to them, right? And then we've had lots of barbecue, which is why I thought this jacket fit. A couple of months ago, it still fit. Barbecue everywhere. So I'm at this fancy barbecue, and everybody's got the cowboy boots on, and it was a Saturday, so they brought all the families with the kids, which is great. We want the next generation of Republican voters. We want them there. And you know what you do when you have kids at an event, you hire someone to entertain the kids because they're not interested in the politics. So this group hired a clown to entertain the kids. I'm kind of freaked out by clowns. But the clown was over there in a blue outfit, big happy face, I think, painted on. I don't know. He was over in the corner, and while I'm speaking, he's doing the balloon, the inflatable balloons, turn them into giraffes, which is very distracting when you're trying to talk, that the clown is over there entertaining the kids. And he keeps staring at me throughout the speech. And he's moving closer and closer for the 20 minutes that I'm talking. And I will not do 20 minutes with you all. You get the abbreviated version. And I'm thinking, do we need to call security? What is wrong with this guy? He keeps getting closer and closer. I finish the speech, and he got a big flower on his head and everything. He comes running over to me, and he says, "John Reid, I'm a Democrat." And I said, I never would have guessed. But here's the good thing. The guy said that he's never heard someone explain economic policy and the cultural battles that we're having in a way that was so clear. And he's voting for me and voting Republican. So, only 100,000 more clowns to convert. And I'm joking. Before the press gets behind, that's a little joke. I want to welcome people to the Republican Party, which is what I hope you've noticed, and Senator Suderline mentioned this. I've really tried to travel everywhere around the state and go talk to people who, get this, have never met a Republican. I mean, I have gone to places where I walked in and they looked, who's this white guy? Well, I didn't know I wasn't supposed to show up. I'm coming to talk to you. I want to explain what we believe in and hope that we can convert you. at least get some of the folks to vote Republican. I went to the NAACP. I went to the Baptist General Convention when they were meeting right here in Roanoke, at the Hotel Roanoke. I went up to Northern Virginia, and I went to the mosques, and I spent 3 hours with the imams in the mosque. Now, that's a little uncomfortable for me in my situation. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. But you know what? Uncomfortable conversations are okay. If you want to be a leader of a state that's as broad and diverse as Virginia, with 8.5 million people, with different religious backgrounds, with different beliefs, then you have to be prepared to go talk to people who may not immediately agree with you and have a dialogue. And may I tell you something? That's what's missing in our political environment today. That's why things have become so toxic in Washington, and we can't let that happen in Virginia at the state capitol. And it's close. It's close to happening. And the reason that I quit the radio show and foolishly gave up my paycheck is that I think as a native Virginian, my mother was born just down the street here in Roanoke. I mean, as somebody who's got a lot of family all across the state, I think maybe if everybody shows up in January with an open heart, an open mind, and an open set of eyes, that we can fix what has been wrong for so long. And I want to give credit to Governor Youngkin, not just for the many, many jobs he's brought here, but for the attitude that he's exhibited. I think when people were slapping at him and being really ugly and calling him terrible names, he demonstrated he's a Christian man who was not going to take the bait and return that ugliness. And I give him credit. Winsome has done the same thing. She has been strong. Jason has...
to be working tirelessly to make life better for other people. I believe that we need to elect people who are focused on working tirelessly and relentlessly trying to pursue policies that improve people's lives, that create more opportunity. And I recognize that the challenges before us, particularly in light of everything coming out of this administration, creates a lot of hurdles for a lot.
Everybody going forward. You know, I was the communications director at the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, the largest business federation in the world. I met with those CEOs, Fortune 100, Fortune 500 companies, and the new guys who just came off the boat with an American dream, opening bodegas and dry cleaners and restaurants. Everybody wants freedom. They don't need the government micromanaging everything. And you know what else? They don't need a union looking over their shoulder, telling them what to do. And if we lose the right to work, your ability to work without being forced into a union, without having money forcibly taken from your paycheck, we're in trouble. We're going to lose to Tennessee. We're going to lose to North Carolina. We cannot let that happen. And everybody who's on the fence about, I don't like John or when somebody, put all that aside. We must make sure we have a robust economic ecosystem for this state and for these young people going forward. That's why I'm going to Richmond in January, to fight for that. I also want to address the public education situation. Have you seen, is Ghazala here, by the way? Because, she's refused to do a debate for almost 200 days, which is kind of offensive. I think if you're running for lieutenant governor or governor, attorney general, you should stand in front of the public. You should answer questions from the media, whatever the questions are. People have asked me some not so nice questions that have been kind of intrusive about my personal life. What, she doesn't have to answer any of those? That's why I did the world's first artificial intelligence debate. Did you watch it? I made her look pretty good, I think, And I tried to be very, very fair to Senator Hashmi. And I walked in off the street and just responded to the questions. No rehearsal, no second takes. I think it was a good thing to do because she was trying to make sure people never heard from me by not going on stage. However, she's taken the $8 million, yes, $8 million, that she's been given by George Soros and the radical Islamists and the socialists in New York, and she's tried to tell people that I want to ruin public schools. I went to public schools. My dad was a public school principal. My mom was a public school teacher. My grandmother, too. Love the public schools. When they're working, I don't want to destroy public education. How about this? I'd like to fix it. Maybe somebody could help us fix the problems. Maybe. Instead of just hanging out at the Capitol and lamenting it and moaning about it and then waiting for the next election and using it, can we go in there and try to provide some options for parents and teachers? and kids, that's what I'm hoping to do. And finally, this is the most important reason that I left my job, and it's serious, and it's pulled into focus in the last couple of weeks. We're on the verge of having a crisis in Virginia where we're at each other's throats, where there's violence, palpable violence. I saw it when I was doing the radio show in 2020. The $250,000 bus in Richmond set on fire. My friends, police officers, pelted in the face with balloons filled with feces and urine. Not one night, because bad things happen one night. People get mad, they get drunk, they do stupid stuff. I'm talking night after night. I'm talking little old ladies beaten in the head and then scared to call the police because they didn't want to be beaten again. City council people, Democrat city council people who were harassed by, quite frankly, arrogant, obnoxious white people who wanted to tell blacks in this society what they had to do. I reject all that. I reject the violence. I reject the racism. We're not tolerating that in Virginia anymore going forward. We must make it clear as leaders that we can disagree and we can argue and hopefully we can debate, but we are not going to tolerate people in our midst who will harm other citizens, impede other citizens, or contemplating put 2 bullets in the head of their political rival and murdering their children. We will not tolerate it anymore. And I'm going to be the responsible man at the Capitol who, without exception, will stand up and call for civility in the Commonwealth of Virginia. I know it can be done. I've witnessed it. I grew up here. I was around people who disagreed. We can make it work. Listen, you're going to hear from the rest of the ticket. Wonderful people like Winsome and Jason. Governor McDonald is here. We've got some great messages to share with the people around Virginia who are about to vote. Here's my closing ask for the people who haven't decided who they're voting for. You got a clear choice on policy. I hope that's enough for you. But if you examine me as a man, I'm a unique candidate. I have empathy for people that others ignore. That's why I've tried to go to the farthest reaches of the state. Even when the consultants told me, don't waste your time, I said, I'm going to talk to people who are normally ignored. If you send me to the Capitol in January, I will be responsible. I will be reasonable. I will be respectful of people even when they disagree with me. And here's the most important thing. I promise you, every decision that comes to me where I have to make a choice, I'm going to do my best to be fair to all the people of Virginia and not play politics. Thank you all for your support. I'm looking forward to a big win tomorrow. Thank you for having me. Roanoke, I'm glad to see you. I appreciate it. You all are very nice. All right, so, hey, Noah, is it the AG? Okay. So I'm very excited to introduce to you now my good friend who I knew long before he was Attorney General, who is fantastic. Or Bob? We're doing Bob instead? All right, I was excited about introducing Jason Miyares, but I've known Bob McDonald for a long time, too. He used to have the office right next to my dad's when I was a kid and was going to the General Assembly. And then he worked his way up, Attorney General, Governor of Virginia. He was Bob's for Jobs. He brought in industry and jobs for Virginia. Please welcome the former Governor of Virginia, Bob McDonald. I'm not going to say it's an upgrade, but it's good you're here. Thank you, Bob. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Next, Lieutenant Governor of Virginia, John Reid, for that introduction. So great to be in the Star City and with some of my old friends. Thanks for coming out today, all of you, to support the next 3 statewide officers of Virginia. Are you ready to win? Are you ready to win some? Are you ready to win all 3 of these races and the House? Great. Thank you, legislators, for your good work and for being here to help the statewide ticket. I can just say we have a tremendous group of people now running for office. They're people of character, of principle, of results, and ones who believe deeply in all these principles of the Republican creed. And I think the best way to know what somebody's going to do is to know what they've already done. Look at what the Youngkin, Sears, Miyares team has done these last few years. It's just been extraordinary. And the accomplishment, working with our legislature in bringing prosperity to Virginia. $150 billion of new capital investment in Virginia, hundreds of thousands of dollars in new jobs, surpluses every year, record surpluses, $9 billion in tax cuts. Great work in making our schools better, the largest teacher pay increases, the largest new investments in education in modern Virginia history. You can go down the line with what they have done, reforming our workforce development and mental health programs that have created so much more good help now for people that need it. This has been an extraordinary administration of accomplishment, unless the obstructionists on the other side of the aisle stop them. There's been so much progress that's been made. And you know, I think if Ronald Reagan were here today, and since he's not, I'm going to step in for him, and he would say this. He would say, this is a real time for choosing. That's what he said in 1964 when he was running around the country campaigning for Barry Goldwater. He said there's so much difference in the philosophies of the people. I mean, do we want capitalism or do we want socialism? Do we want a culture where government promises opportunity or promises entitlements? Do we believe that police and borders and traditional values are good and healthy for the country? Or do we want to go back to chaos where anything goes? I mean, that's what he said in 1964, and I think it's really true today when you look at the contrast in the visions of the Democratic candidates and our Republican candidates. It's that stark a contrast, which is why we're here today to beg all of you for your help here these last 24 hours to get our team over the finish line. Because here's what's going to happen. If there was a Democratic governor, this is what's going to happen to the Commonwealth of Virginia. I've only served it for 38 years or so. You gentlemen are still serving it today. But you know the things that have been built by a stream of Republican governors and legislators. But if you get a Democrat-run government, what you're going to have is the immediate abolition of the right to work law. The single biggest calling card that I had and Glenn had running around the country and the world to talk about Virginia is we're the northernmost right to work site. We do not mandate union participation for you to get a job, to live your American dream in Virginia. But that's what you're going to have. You're going to have an increase in taxes and regulations. You're going to have an administration that won't protect the blue, won't support the police the way they should, won't have your police coordinating with the ICE agents to make sure that criminal illegal aliens are not in the Commonwealth of Virginia. You're going to have a boost in taxes and regulation. Everything that Glenn Youngkin did to cut down the cost of living in Virginia is going to be done away with. And what I'm telling you is your beloved Virginia, the birthplace of democracy, the mother of presidents, is going to be virtually unrecognizable in 1 year. Am I telling the truth, gentlemen? I mean, that's what you're going to have. It's that stark with this administration. So we're at the point that we just need you to do everything you can. There's still stuff that you could do in these last few hours that'll make a difference. There's more signs you can put up. Every one of you is an opinion leader. That's why you're here today. And you're going to be able to influence people if you call them on the phone, if you send out another 10 or 20 or 50 emails tonight, if you text your best friends that you know are leaning conservative but are maybe not interested in this campaign for whatever, get them to the polls. I mean, we're that close. You've seen the polls. This is a margin of error race. This is a turnout race. If you turn out your friends the way we're all asking you today, this is going to be a great day when those polls close tomorrow at 7 o'clock. Are you ready to do that for the Commonwealth of Virginia, to preserve the great Commonwealth of Virginia? That's what we need you to do. And what a group of candidates we've got. We've got Winsome Earle-Sears, Gunny Sergeant, former Marine, a person of deep faith and values. Her whole family, Terrence and the kids, are all here with her today. A very strong person that understands the family as the bedrock of our society. That's who we've got that can be the next leader of the Commonwealth of Virginia if you help do what needs to be done these last few hours. We've got John Reid. How about that? A conservative guy in the media. What about that for a great start for our ticket? Someone who's a great communicator, who understands those values that Ronald Reagan put in place in government 50 years ago, and has been talking about those all over the state. And I think we've got a chance to reelect the best Attorney General in the United States of America, Jason Miyares. He's a tremendous force for law and order. He understands what it means to be able to protect people, and that public safety is the basic job of government. But he also understands second chances, and he's done so much to get people that have made mistakes but want to live the American dream, get them back on their feet and get them a job. I've seen him at African-American churches and job fairs in poor communities all over the state, helping people quietly, because that's what he knows that a public servant ought to be doing. So are you ready to win some? Are you ready to win all of these races by what you're going to do these last few hours? That's great. Please welcome the current and the next Attorney General of Virginia, our friend Jason Miyares.
Virginians, are you ready to start up and win again? I know I am. I got to tell you, it has been so exciting being out on the campaign trail. You just feel it everywhere you go. And part of this great joy that I have campaigning with John and Winsome is asking Virginians, obviously, to hire us, but also to remind Virginians where we came from. Because leadership matters, elections matter, who we elevate matters in leadership. And the Virginia of 2021 was, do you all remember the Virginia of 2021? It was a state that was dying. We had more people moving out of the state than moving into the state. We were near the bottom in job creation. We were struggling. And something happened in 2021. Do y'all remember what it was? You hired Glenn, you hired Winsome, you hired me, and it was the most remarkable turnaround we've ever seen. I'd say it's the most remarkable 4-year turnaround any state has seen in modern American history. We went from 46 to job creation, the top 5, $140 billion of brand new investment that's coming to Virginia. That's greater than the last 4 governors combined. The highest labor force participation rate we've ever seen. And yes, we've reversed this trend, right? In 2021, when I said Virginia was a struggling state, 8 straight years of more people leaving than coming to Virginia. That had not happened since Calvin Coolidge was president. I did have a young staffer ask me, who in the world's Calvin Coolidge? So if you don't know, that had not happened in 100 years. And then you hired us, and a lot of you guys were with us in January of 2022 when we got sworn in. We did that quick prayer and then went to go work for you. And we don't take plays off, as Governor Youngkin likes to say. And by every objective measure, now Virginia is stronger today, thriving today. More people are moving now to Virginia than leaving. This is a state that is booming right now. And so when you hired me as the Attorney General, I made you several promises, because when I said Virginia was dying, we were a state when I took office that had a murder rate at a 20-year high, a violent crime rate at a 30-year high, the highest levels of addiction deaths we'd ever seen. And I made a couple promises to you as Virginians to be the people's protector. Number one, I said we're going to work with police instead of against police. Novel idea, right? Because when we took office, our morale was so low with our law enforcement guardians. We had some localities at 40% vacancy rates. So Glenn and Winsome and I, we launched Operation Bold Blue Line to put more cops on our streets. I promised you we would investigate and we would prosecute these repeat violent offenders that were hurting so many Virginians. Because not only was our murder rate so high, we saw 5% of felons were committing over 50% of the violent felonies. And we launched something called Operation Ceasefire in 13 of our most violent cities. One of them was Roanoke. Let me just give you this number. In Roanoke, we saw that 0.12% of the population of Roanoke, that's less than 1/5 of 1%, were committing over 30% of the homicides. So what did we do? We went after these repeat violent offenders. So many of them are drug dealers and narcotics dealers. We investigated them, we indicted them, we prosecuted them. The murder rate in Roanoke today, since we've launched ceasefire, is down 62%. And we've seen that replicated through all of our ceasefire cities. Folks, I promised you I'd go after the fentanyl dealers. My office alone has prosecuted and removed enough fentanyl off the streets that would have taken the lives of 7 million Virginians. I promised you, Virginia, that I was going to go after the big pharmaceutical companies that had pushed OxyContin into so many of our communities, poisoning so many of our friends and neighbors. We investigated them. We sued them. We got some of the largest settlements in Virginia history, $1.5 billion and counting. That money goes to treatment because I believe America's a nation of second chances. I have a faith of second chances. We want people dealing with addiction to get back on their feet, which we've helped them. And on the dealers, we're going to go after the dealers poisoning and feeding that addiction. So early this year, it was announced that Virginia, we weren't top 10, we weren't top 5. We were the #1 state in the entire country in the drop of addiction deaths. That's called leadership and proven results. Now I know my attorney general's race has kind of been flying beneath the radar this election. It hasn't gotten a lot of national news at all, has it? Because there's somebody else applying for this job. His name is Jay Jones. Now, Jay Jones is asking us to hire him to be the top prosecutor in the entire state. He's never prosecuted a case a day in his life. We did know he served in the General Assembly briefly. And this is what we know. Every chance he's had to side with police and side with law enforcement and side with victims, he went the other way. He literally has championed removing SROs. Those are our school resource officers. Those are our cops in our schools that protect our kids. He says he wants them out of our schools. I want them in. He supports and champions things like no cash bail, which is an idea as dumb as it sounds. It literally means if I'm a carjacker or a rapist and I'm arrested, you cannot be held in jail prior to trial. It is a definition of a catch and release program. He voted to end the mandatory reporting requirement of sexual assault in schools. We told him if this happened, there'll be rapes that aren't reported. He championed and voted for this anyway, and we saw what happened in Loudoun County a couple years ago, where the 15-year-old boy put on the skirt, walked in the bathroom, brutally raped that poor girl, another student, and then just got transferred to another school where it happened again. By every objective measure, he doesn't have the experience or the judgment for this job as Attorney General. But now we know that my race has become something so much more than that. It has become a national referendum on decency. We all talk about the need to elevate our discourse. Folks, there's never been anybody to run for Attorney General in any state that has ever advocated violence against children, violence against mothers, wanting to see cops die. It was unconscionable. The reason why it has shocked the country, the reason why I get press calls, even from overseas, about my race, is because we've never seen anything like this. When this all happened, this so floored me. First of all, he went on this tirade because he was angry that Todd Gilbert, a Republican, had dared say nice words in memory of a longtime Southwest Virginia delegate, a Democrat who had passed away, Joe Johnson. Because in his words, what he wanted to do was urinate on the graves of his opponents. That's his own words. And then he wanted to see 2 bullets in the head of Todd Gilbert. And part of what is so shocking is, I know Todd. I served with him in the General Assembly. So did Jay. He knows him personally. I know Jennifer, his wife. She would come to the assembly all the time. So has Jay. He knows her personally. We would see those kids running up and down the hallways. They were as young as 2 and 5 years old when these text messages. So has Jay. These weren't hypothetical. This is a real husband and father, a real mom, and real children that he's known and met. The idea that you'd want to inflict violence on anyone is disqualifying in any office. Because when this happened, one of the first things I thought of, actually, was something my mother had told me about her family experience. And a lot of y'all know my family background. You know, I travel around the state and people ask me, what kind of name is Miyares anyway? And I like to say, well, it's a southern name. It's deep south. But my mother fled Cuba obviously with nothing, and she raised me to appreciate this is the American miracle. And part of what makes this miracle work is that we settle our differences at the ballot box, not with bullets. But she said this, she said, you know, in Cuba, when the Marxists took over, when the communists took over in Cuba, and they were inflicting pain on the innocent, they all thought of themselves as the good guys. When they were taking people and beating them, when they were taking people and making them go through mock executions, when they were nationalizing businesses, They had this idea that it's okay to inflict pain if it meant you would change policy. And that's why that exchange that happened, in which Jay Jones' colleague is saying, Jay, please stop. Jay, this is not appropriate. Please stop. You're literally hoping Jennifer Gilbert's children die in her arms. And his exact words were, yes, as I've told you before, it is only through pain that people move on policy. We can never accept anyone who wants to inflict pain on innocent people to change policy. We can never accept anyone that has a view that it's okay for cops to die if it means they change how they do policing. The hardest thing I have to do as Attorney General is attend an end-of-watch ceremony. They're called end-of-watch funerals because that's the last thing that you hear when they roll the casket away from the fallen who've died in the line of duty of our law enforcement officers. And the last thing you hear is a dispatcher in that church that calls out the name of the fallen 3 times. And 3 times there's no answer. And then they say, Officer Michael Chandler, Hunter Reid, J.J. Smith, Cameron Reese. I could go on and on. Your watch has ended. We now have the watch. It haunts your soul once you've stood there in that room at that moment. It is unconscionable that anyone could serve to be the top prosecutor, to carry the badge that I carry every day as the Attorney General, who works with law enforcement, to ever be able to be in a position to grace an end-of-watch funeral with those law enforcement heroes. So ask yourself this question, Virginia. How can we trust Jay Jones to prosecute an MS-13 gang member when he's literally wanted to put 2 bullets in the head of an innocent Virginian? How can we trust Jay Jones to ever comfort a mother that has lost her child to violence, knowing he's advocated for violence against children? Because if you ever met one that has, they will tell you there's no cry like the cry of a mother that has lost her child. Jay Jones would not know that because he's never been a prosecutor. How can we trust Jay Jones to ever stand with our law enforcement heroes when he's advocated for violence against cops? How can he ever represent the all of Virginia when he said he wanted to urinate on the graves of people that think differently than he does politically? How can he ever stand, Jay Jones, in front of a judge with any credibility when we now know that he lied to a judge, that he misled a judge, and now he's currently under criminal investigation by a special prosecutor for misleading a judge, for claiming that he was going to get out of going 160 miles an hour by doing community service, and it ended up he did it for his own pack. By the way, I'm not counting this as my community service at all, right? And I don't have any reckless driving tickets, so you have nothing to worry about. But Virginia, that's where we are. And this directly affects this region. Jennifer, who he attacked and said she wanted to see her children die in her arms, she started off as a reporter here in Roanoke. That's how little he thinks of us. That's little he thinks of this entire region. And so now, Virginians, we need you to make sure your voice is heard on Election Day. Because right now, he doesn't think very much of you. And this is our moment of decency. And so, Virginia, we need to make sure that your voice is heard. Because we've seen, just in September when Charlie Kirk was murdered, that there are those on the far left that want to use bullets to silence their opponents. And your vote is your voice. And your voice has to be heard. And so I'll end with this. Ronald Reagan made this observation. Of all the countries in the world, the United States is the only country in which our national anthem actually ends with a question. Does that flag still fly on the land of the free and the home of the brave? That's a question that has to be answered by every generation. It's a question that has to be answered by every person in this room. Are you ready to answer yes to that question? Yeah. Wait. Are you ready to answer yes to that question? So I need you to be our ambassador. You need to grab 10 friends, the people you walk with, you worship with. I need you to grab them to the polls. I need you to post on social media why we don't want a Maryland or Virginia, California or Virginia. But now the eyes of the world are on us, Virginia, to pass this test of decency, to say no to those who want violence against children, violence against cops. They don't deserve a promotion. They deserve retirement. That's what's at stake. And now I get to introduce the architect of the Great Virginia comeback, the Great Virginia Renaissance, someone who loves Southwest Virginia, and like me, it's not a place on a map, it is a place in our heart. Please, please welcome my friend, your friend, the great governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia, Governor Glenn Youngkin.
When I die and the layman to rest, gonna go to the place that's the best. When I lay me down to die, going up to the spirit in the sky. Going up to the spirit in the sky. That's where I'm gonna go when I die. When I die and the layman to rest, I'm gonna go to the place that's the best.
Let's get Jason Miyares reelected.
Prepare yourself, you know
Come on, team. How we doing?
gonna have a friend in Jesus.
Wow.
So you know that when you die, He's gonna recommend you to the spirit in the sky.
We've been singing that song for a long time. Never gets old. Thank you. So first of all, thank you for the incredibly warm reception that Roanoke's given me from the very first time I set foot here as a candidate. And I want to thank my friend Nancy Dye because she hosted my very first event here. And so thank you. Thank you, thank you. Listen, we got work to do. We got work to do, and right now we know exactly how to do that work, and that is to get out the vote. We get out the vote, we win, Virginia keeps sailing. We do not get out the vote, and Virginia has to pull over the side of the road and say what happened. And anybody that didn't vote has no right to complain. No right to complain, because God gave us this amazing democracy, this republic that is the envy of the world, where we elect our leaders. But what that requires us to do is to vote. How many people voted early? All right. For those of you that have not voted, you just got left out. You got to go vote. Bottom line is, and so for those of you that have voted early, I am now going to do something that only governors can do. Governor McDonald and I can do this together. I'm about to knight you. I'm going to knight you as ambassadors of winning. And therefore, as governor, I knight you as ambassadors of winning. And in that role, you have one job, and that is to get 10 friends out to vote. 10 friends. Not 9, not 8, not 7, 10. And if you're married and you and your spouse are here together, that's 20 between the two of you. I just want to make sure you got the math right. We get the vote out, we win. In 2021, we made a statement that was heard around the world, a statement that common sense was going to win, a statement where Virginians, not just Republicans, but Republicans, a lot of independents, and a lot of Democrats said, not here anymore, not here. We are going to once again catapult Virginia to where she belongs, a state that is leading and not following. That's what we did, and we have to do it again. You see, we had a Virginia that was failing, a Virginia that was literally losing more jobs than creating them, losing more businesses than bringing them, losing more people than attracting them, a Virginia that was shrinking. And you can't shrink your way to success. We had a Virginia that had a 20-year high in murder rate. We had a Virginia that was only winning one category, and that was learning loss for our students in 4th and 8th grade, where we led the nation in math and reading learning loss. Can you believe that? That was the Virginia. And all of a sudden, Virginians said no more. We're going to make sure our students learn. We're going to make sure our communities are safe. We're going to make sure we have jobs that are not only a few jobs, but literally record jobs in the Commonwealth of Virginia. We're going to make sure that we run surpluses so that we can have massive tax relief, $9 billion of tax relief and a $10 billion surplus, because it's your money. It is your money. And guess what? When we deregulate and we make it easy to do business, and we reduce tax burdens by $9 billion, and we make our communities safer, and I tell you what, our Attorney General has done a masterful job of making Virginia safer. We stand up for parents and remind everybody that children belong to parents, not the government,
then all of a sudden Virginia soars. It soars. And it's been amazing to watch. We've recruited business after business after business, $143 billion of commitments from companies to come here, to expand, to invest, and to hire, to issue those magic words of "you are hired." Magic words that reflect the dignity in work, the recognition that when someone has a job, it's a lot more than a place to go every day. It is a statement about the character of that person. It is a statement about the fact that person was formed in the image of God. That's what dignity in work is all about. And we have a lot of dignity in work going on across the Commonwealth of Virginia right now. 276,000 more people working today than when we started. 200,000 plus open and available jobs. And the 143 billion, that's another 85,000 jobs and 40,000 construction jobs. Folks, we got jobs in Virginia. And guess what? All of that has come together to change a 10-year trend. In 2023, for the first time in a decade, more people moved to Virginia than moved away to the other 49 states. They made a statement, I want to be in Virginia. By the way, I called my friend, Governor Bill Lee in Tennessee, and I said, Governor, congratulations on being 9 in the country. I'm number 10 in the country on net in-migration. More people going to Tennessee than moving out. Boy, number 10's great. Do you know who number 9 was? Commonwealth of Virginia. Listen, we have friendly competition, but I got to tell you, the bottom line is Virginia has been soaring. And a lot of that is to do to my friends who I see sitting around here right now. And I just want to say we have 2 great congressmen in Morgan Griffith and Ben Klein, and we got to reelect them next year. Next year. I got to tell you what, these guys work so hard, and I talk to them all the time about the shenanigans that they're working to make sure that they can fix in Washington. But I want to thank both of you for the sacrifices that you guys make. We have 2 of our great state senators here in Bill Stanley and Chris Head. Thank you guys for all that you guys do. Delegate McNamara is here. We got to get him reelected. By the way, the pathway to a majority in our House is to reelect Delegate McNamara and to reelect Terry Austin, who I see standing over here too. Here we go. We got to get it done. We got to get it done, my friends. Listen, but I can tell you at the top of the list is we must reelect Jason Miyares as our Attorney General. We must. We must elect John Reid as our Lieutenant Governor. And we must elect Winsome Earle-Sears as the 75th Governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia. We got to get it done. Listen. We know how to win elections in Virginia because we've proven that we can do it over and over again. But the bottom line is we got to get the vote out. And that's where I'm going to go back to where I started. This idea of getting 10 friends is not a suggestion. You have been knighted. And therefore, as knights of winning, you have to go out and get 10 friends. But let me tell you, here's how you have this conversation with them. You can say the following. Virginia's standing at a fork in the road. That fork in the road is we have to make a choice. There is no choice to stand in the middle. You are either going to go down the right path, the path to light, or you're going to go down the left path. And I believe that is a path to dark. That's your choice. You cannot stand in the middle. Virginians don't stand in the middle. 250 years ago in March, there was a vote held in the colony of Virginia to make a decision. A decision whether Virginia should raise a militia and go help Massachusetts and fight for our independence. That decision was being held by a group of very, very fine Virginians who were in St. John's Church. And the first vote was a tie. A tie. Half Virginians who voted thought, wait a minute, I want to protect what I've got. I might get in trouble. I might lose to the British, and I don't want to take the risk. And a man walked up to the front of that church that day, and he looked at everybody and he said, I know not what course others may take, but as for me, give me liberty or give me death. And I'm just telling you, folks, we have a Patrick Henry moment right now. A Patrick Henry moment where we can't stand in the middle. We must choose a course. We must choose the right path. And therefore, when you call your 10 friends and they say, well, I'm busy or I don't know or what. No, it's time for Patrick Henry. It is time for us to make a choice. And that choice must be for common sense. That choice must be for safe communities. That choice must be for parents over bureaucracy. That choice must be for jobs. And that choice must be for more money in your pocket than the government's. My friends, that's what's on the ballot. And that's why this is so important. And we know that when we turn out, we win. When we turn out, we win. And when we win, I will have the great honor of handing the keys to the executive mansion in Richmond to the 75th governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia, and that person will be Winsome Earle-Sears, the great lieutenant governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia.
Don't y'all have jobs? It is Monday. It is Monday. That's exactly right. Your job is to vote tomorrow. Your job is to vote tomorrow. But, let me see who's already done their civic duty. Who's already voted? Whoa, this is awesome, awesome. Now, you cannot vote a second time, just remember that. But you can call somebody and find out, have you voted? Have you voted? And, if they're not going to vote our way, then hang up. But if they are, go get them. Tell them, I'm coming to get you. Have a seat, everybody. Have a seat. Sit down. Sit down. I got 2 hours to talk to you. Listen, folks, we've got serious things to discuss because Abigail Spanberger has failed Virginia. Abigail Spanberger has failed Virginia, and let me tell you how. You know that during the summer, she told the media that she was not going to redistrict. She had no interest in that. I also said that because why would we want to? We're tired of the gerrymandering. And you've already told us in 2020 you wanted it out of the hands of politicians. Well, that was until Wednesday arrived. Wednesday arrived because some Democrats from on high showed up and said, we're going to give you $150,000 if you redistrict, Abigail. And the very next day, guess what happened? They called us and said, we are going to redistrict. The Democrats did. So Abigail failed us because she took $150,000, sold us out for her campaign. We cannot have her. If she will do that in the light, what will she do behind closed doors? We don't want Abigail. She's wrong for Virginia. Abigail Spanberger is going to fail us because she's already told us she gets elected, which she won't, but she gets elected, she said, she is going to increase your taxes. Why would we vote for her then? I mean, she's telling us what she's going to do. Believe her. So she will fail us because she will take our money. She will grow government, but I am going to grow business. That's what I'm going to do. Abigail has failed us because she wants a energy policy that says only solar and wind. Really? Does that make sense to anyone? If you're like me, you want something to happen when you flip that little switch. Am I right? Something needs to connect. Well, not with Abigail. She will turn us into Maryland. Folks, in August of this year, Marylanders were told to expect rolling brownouts. You know why? Because they're part of this clean New Deal nonsense. So that's, again, only solar and wind. Well, the chickens have come home to roost, and they have finally figured out it ain't going to work. It's not going to work because, well, you've seen some of your bills are showing you $800, almost up to $1,600 a month in energy costs. And that's because the Democrats, every single one of them, voted for the Virginia Clean Economy Act, that Green New Deal nonsense. The only clean thing about it is it's cleaning out your pocketbook. That's what it's doing. But I am going to repeal it. Abigail says she's going to get rid of oil and gas. And then what? No. And then what, Abigail? Abigail! Crickets. She's still silent. Because she knows her policies are a failure. But money coming out of your pocket is not a failure. We're going to make sure it stays in your pocket because I'm going to get rid of the car tax. The car tax. It's time. You know, we could have gotten rid of it this year, but her side of the aisle, because Governor Youngkin put it in his budget. So you wouldn't have gotten a bill this year. We have the money so that we wouldn't need to pay it. And her side of the aisle said no. Well, when I got home and I saw that bill, I was seething. Because the Democrats could have changed things. Well, you know what I did? I don't know how many of you saw. I did a little video, and I took that bill out, and I ripped it up. And then it occurred to me, you're still going to have to pay it. So I got the tape out and taped it back up and paid it. But I'm telling you, we are going to get rid of it. You vote for me, we're going to get rid of it. This year, we're going to get rid of it. Actually, next year. But, Abigail continues to fail us because she wants to tell us what kind of car we can drive. Like, who are you to tell us that? She's going to tell us what kind of stove we can have. And it's only electric. Like, what are you doing in my kitchen, Abigail? No. What are you doing in my kitchen, Abigail? You don't pay the mortgage around here. We cannot afford this woman. Listen, I hear that in California there's a governor's race. Maybe she can solar and wind herself over to California. She can be governor in California. That's where she should go. Because those are the nonsense policies that they have there. Listen, Abigail Spanberger has failed us when it comes to keeping us safe. When she was in Congress, she voted to keep the borders open. Yes. And you know what happened then? Fentanyl came across the border. Came up 95, came up 81, was killing 5 Virginians every day. I was with some of those mothers. They've come to see me, and we've tried to make sure that it doesn't happen to anybody else's children. And my God, you would think that the Democrats would say, yes, let's make sure that if you deal drugs and it kills somebody, you go to jail. Oh, no, that was a bridge too far for them. That's who Abigail Spanberger is. She doesn't care about law enforcement because she voted to get rid of their qualified immunity. And that means that if they go out on a job, on a call, and anything happens, their houses can be taken. Every asset that they have can be taken from them. Would you take that kind of a job? Of course you wouldn't. So that's why I'm telling you, she makes no sense. Abigail is for nonsense. I am for Common sense. Common sense. Because you hired us, you hired the governor, you hired our attorney general, and you hired me, we've been able to keep you safe because we brought the morale back for law enforcement. Folks, we saw how bad it was. They were leaving. And who was there to come and save us when we called them? We've decompressed their pay. We're paying them more. And let me tell you what I'm going to do when I'm governor. I am going to make the first $20,000 of their salary tax-free. That's what we're going to do. Tax-free. Tax-free. We can do this. We have the money. You know, long time ago when I was first running for the House of Delegates, back in 2000, it's a few years ago, you know, that was actually when our former governor, McDonald, was a young man. We were all young together. Now we're all gray-haired. But he's more gray than me. When I was in the House of Delegates, he sat here, and a wonderful delegate named Terry Suit sat here, and I sat next to them. And let me tell you, we didn't run roughshod over the Democrats in the way that they're doing to us in the House. They don't care to hear our voices. They don't care to hear any bills that your representatives may bring. They don't care. But wait a minute. The Democrats are the ones who are supposed to love us more than anybody else. They're supposed to be more tolerant than anybody else, except they're not. They only tolerate their own views. Folks, we need to win the House back. We've got to get McNamara back in. If he doesn't win, we don't win the House back. We need him back. We've got to go out. We've got to do our duty again. Now, I didn't say go vote again. I said go find some folks who haven't voted. Actively ask them, have you voted? Abigail Spanberger will fail us. Abigail Spanberger has already told us what I've just told you. She's going to get rid of oil and gas. She's going to make sure that we're not safe because she's soft on crime. In D.C., you know, she voted for a bill that reduced penalties on really bad crimes. And it was so bad, that bill was, that by the time it got to Joe Biden, even he vetoed it. That's how bad it was. That's how bad it was. And by the way, speaking of Joe Biden, who was speaking about him? I was speaking about him. Speaking of Joe Biden, you know, Abigail claims that, you know, she was in all the rooms that he was in, which means she saw when the leader then of the free world was in cognitive decline, and she said nothing. She was like the rest of them. She said nothing. But you know who saw that? The rogue leaders of the world. They knew that he was not altogether there. And that's why you saw all that happen on the world stage. So Abigail, who could have said something, kept quiet. She goes along to get along. Well, that's not what we're about. We need people who have a backbone, and that's why we need to bring back our Attorney General, who will protect us. So let me tell you something else. Don't believe those lying polls. You know why? Because they're trying to deflate us. That's what they're trying to do. But let me tell you, you can tell what's happening because you saw Abigail has been bringing in some names. I saw she brought Bill and Hillary to town. Yes. I should have some hot sauce somewhere. You might remember that. I mean, Hillary, yes, went to a black radio station, and they asked her, what do you have in your purse? And first thing she pulled out was hot sauce. Like, what? Is that what you think of people who look like me? Yes. They have no respect for us. They don't care about us. And that's why you saw that sign from an Abigail Spanberger supporter that said, Winsome, if trans can't use your bathroom, then blacks can't drink at my water fountain. What? What? Of course it's racist. And it took Abigail a whole day to say anything. Her staff was the one who answered for her, not Abigail herself. And that's why my biggest donor has been a Democrat who said when he saw that, he said, this is a bridge too far. My God, think about that. We have these Democrats, and what they keep trying to do is to fight the Civil War all over again. But folks, here I am, second in command in the former capital of the Confederate States. What is that about? Of course. And this is to say, America is a wonderful place. The American dream is still happening. And we need for the Democrats to stop thinking about the past, the past, the past. Because you see, what they're trying to say is, you need us. You need us to fight for you. No, we need you to get back on the horse you rode in on and leave us alone. That's what we need you to do. So, remember, again, we need you to grab some folks and get tomorrow to an election place that we normally call a poll. We need you to go. We need you to go, and we need you to vote. This is not about us. This is about your children and your children's children. Because, folks, what we must do is to make the darkness tremble. That's what we must do. We have a charge to keep. It is darkness. It is darkness for my opponent to have voted that a man could be undressing in a locker room with our girls. That's exactly right. And that's why you're seeing Democrats cross over, and they're going to vote for us, because that, my friends, is the right thing to do. Abigail will fail us each and every time. Abigail is for Abigail. Remember that. We need people who will stand up for Virginians. And by the way, my policies will work for everyone. Because when I say that you're going to pay less taxes, guess who else? Well, Democrats are going to pay less taxes too. But if they, this is America, we've got to give them options. If they want to pay more, we're going to redesign the tax form. It's going to say, check here if you think we haven't taken enough taxes from you. And then fill in the blank how much more you want us to take from you. And we'll send them a golden thank you letter. Folks, this is not hard. I think you want to ask us, how will you make my life not so hard? Because it already is. Do you see me? Do you know me? Do you care? Have you come and seen me? That's what we do. That's what we've been doing. And so one of the things I kept hearing from the Southwest especially was, you never see us after election time. And I said to them, I tell you what, you stop paying your taxes, we'll find you. But seriously, that was a good one. But seriously, I heard that too many times, and so I think half of life is showing up. How do you know what will affect me unless you come and talk to me? So the whole team has been throughout all of our great Virginia these many times. But I think what we really need to do, and I'm going to do it as governor, I'm going to put a governor's office in the Southwest. That's what I'm going to do. Because I know that in some places in the Southwest, there are 6 other capitals closer to the Southwest than your very own capital. And I think you need to see us and pinch us and know that we care. So that's one thing I'm going to do. And those electric bills, we're already working on those. I'm already talking to all the right people. We are going to repeal the Virginia Clean Economy Act. It is time. It is time. We've got to get John Reid in. We need John Reid as our lieutenant governor. I have broken enough ties as lieutenant governor to tell you it's a very important position. The governor and I have worked together on so many things, as well as the attorney general. We need a clean sweep come tomorrow, a clean sweep. So we are right on taxes. You keep more of them. We are right on creating jobs. We know how to do this. We are right on public safety. We know how to do this. Folks, Abigail and her crew will let us down. And I'm just going to say this last thing. Jay Jones, even Barack Obama, when he came on Saturday, did not even mention his name. Think about that. Because he understands it is an awful thing for a sitting delegate to say that his political opponent deserved 2 bullets to the head, and his children, 2 and 5 at the time, they also deserved to be murdered, and that his wife was breeding little fascists. Who says things like that? And Abigail, all she said was, she was unhappy, she was disgusted. Oh, so it's all about you, Abigail. It's all about you, Abigail. You see, I told you, Abigail is for Abigail. I saw that kind of political violence when I was a child growing up in Jamaica. I saw what happens when you have those gangs and they just start killing each other and killing the rest of us. We can't have that. My mother, in fact, when I was running for the House, I had death threats. So the Democrats didn't just start this. I had death threats. They were so credible, the state police wired my house and wired my phones. We have children, and they had to see that. And then, if that weren't bad enough, my opponent at the time, well, his supporter, it was so bad that I had to get a protective order against him. And he violated that order. Yes, and he was taken to jail. And guess who his attorney was? My opponent. Yes. So my mother called from Jamaica, and she said, they're going to kill you. I'm her only child. And I said, no, Mom, they don't do that in America. They just talk bad about you. Well, look where we are 20 years later. You see, the seeds were planted a while ago, and now the tree is bearing fruit. Well, let us stop them at the gate. Vote for us tomorrow, and we will show them how to love each other. That's what we will do. God bless you for coming. Thank you all. This is your Virginia. Don't let anybody cheat you out of that. We need to win. We will win because of you. Come on up, John. Come on up, our Attorney General. Thank you.